Hold on, let me just mute myself for a when I was not able to stream for a bit, which I'm really sorry about, the pocket video may come out later. You missed out on a theory. Now, you see that bottom theory? You missed out on that. In fact, I can probably even go to the game theorist. Search of fnaf.
Alright, so let's see what horror games we have to theorize about. Show me!
Hold on. So keyboard lag. Yeah, you see, he even has his. We watched that one. That's about the real boss. This one is up. So, what we're gonna do is react. And then, like in the title, we'll go to. But of course, I would usually bring in a friend, so let's do that.
Man, this game's boring. Isn't there... Any good game out there that's free? Boy, kid, you...
I've done it. I've solved FNAF, and the clue that brings it all together is this.
Don't you hate getting killed by obscure secondary characters?
Hello, Internet! Welcome
I
to
watched
Game
this.
Theory, where today I'm just gonna get straight to the point. This episode was supposed to be our final timeline, but you know what? It's not quite there yet. I think we're gonna have it ready for next week. There's just a few wrinkles that we need to iron out about Elizabeth's death specifically, but otherwise, I feel really good about everything we've pieced together so far. That said, I wanted to put this episode up first regardless because it dives into a section of the timeline that's going to be controversial, which is also a bad thing because it's the beginning of the timeline. Nothing like starting off on the wrong foot. In order to head that one off at the pass, let's just start talking about it now, shall we? Last episode I brought up how I have been tackling this whole timeline project. Basically everything into 3 key sections. the foundation of Freddy, the Afton era, and post-Purple Guy. In that episode, we dug hard into the last chunk, trying to figure out the recent history with things like FNAF VR and Security Breach. But even trickier is the first chunk, the foundation of Freddy's. You see, at this point, we all have a general basic knowledge of the games, right? Kids die, animatronics get possessed, all that good stuff. But here, that foundational stuff right at the beginning, that's the murkiest, because honestly, there's not a
All I'm gonna have to say that is very funny. I listen to a lot of FNAF songs. One specific song kind of goes to what Matt Pat is about to talk about. If you listen to the song called Drawn to the Bitter, you should remember this first part. The lyrics go like this. Once the souls have had such great goals. That's basically the first line, or first two lines. The only question is, if you haven't watched the theory yet, is how did they start working together and why? Also, let's just say all the answers to what happened aren't as clear as day.
lot that's immediately clear that we can go off of. Sure, there's a couple of lines from Phone Guy, maybe a sentence or two from the novels, but otherwise, that'd be about it. How did William Afton and Henry Emily start working together? Were they rivals? Why did Afton start killing in the first place? Fredbear's Family Diner truly the first location? These are questions that seem important for us to answer, and honestly, if you're looking at where the timeline of Freddy's really begins, it's with those sorts of questions. The
Fredbear's Diner question, yes, but also no. Matt Pat will explain why. I'm sorry if I keep on interrupting Matt Pat talking.
only problem is that the answers just might not exist anywhere in the canon yet. Or so I initially thought, which brings us to today's episode. I suspect there may be a way to answer some, if not all of those questions, using a mix of evidence games, the books, and real-life lore. In the process, I think it'll help us get a better understanding of William Afton's motives, while also outlining a sequence of events that'll ultimately help place locations and other things when I tackle the full timeline of this next week. And all of it hinges on one thing: a set of obscure secondary characters named the Mediocre Melodies. Orville Elephant, Ned Bear, Pig Patch, Happy Frog, and of course, Mr. Hippo.
Sometimes a story is just a story. You try to read into every little thing and find meaning in everything anyone says, you'll just drive yourself crazy.
Yeah, I know, Mr. Hippo, I get it. That has been leveled at me more times than I can. I think in this case, we actually didn't read into you enough. You see, when the Mediocres were first introduced in Pizzeria Simulator, we, as the community, largely dismissed them. And why wouldn't we? This is a game where you're pulling animatronics out of a dumpster. Trash and the gang are literally made of garbage. Why would we think that some random barnyard-themed characters would be worth our attention when there was already so much established lore inside of the thing? We beat the game, we solved it, we moved on. Then Ultimate Custom Night released, and there they were again. It was strange to see him fill so many slots, but I don't know, there was also Trash in the Gang, and Music Man! Other random pulls from the character deep cut, so maybe it was just Scott trying to fill out the roster. But then something unexpected happened. Well, they were mostly treated as a joke. If you died to them, every once in a while they'd give voice to the most important character and mystery from the game. The one you shouldn't have killed, Cassidy.
We've only just begun. I will never let you leave. I will never let you rest.
It was a huge revelation, and the lines that they spoke ultimately helped us to determine that Custom Night was William Afton's endless torment at the hands of the inside the Golden Freddy suit. But again, none of us ever stopped to consider why them? Why these characters? Why were they the ones that Cassidy was choosing to speak through? Why are they here? Well, after doing a lot of research for the grand overall timeline, now I think I know. The Mediocre Melodies were Henry's creation from a time before he and William started working together. When the two men merged their ideas together to form one company, the Mediocres became temporary characters in Fredbear's Family Diner before eventually being retired and largely forgotten.
Take this. Find them.
All I have to say before I continue, this largely connects to the Fazbear Fright books. You'll see why, but all I have to say is, don't return the book well, don't return the book unless you fully complete it. You might be missing out on a lot of information.
Oh, yeah! That is a lot of big swings that I'm making with some massive assumptions. So let's just rewind and take it one step at a time, shall we? First, how do we know that the mediocre melodies belong to Henry? Well, let's just look at their design. It's very simple. They're similar to the Endo 01 designs from the FNAF 1 animatronics, but even more rudimentary, with less flexible joints and less complex wiring. But the important point here is that for each one, the upper jaw and the lower jaw are entirely separate, operating using a
All I have to say is that before Map Pack continues, think about what other animatronics has a jaw that's unhinged. Think. All that you need to do is think about what other animatronics has an unhinged jaw. Hold on.
variance towards the back of the head, or two metal bars that slide up and down.
That's what I meant by unhinged jaw. Basically, one of those two. Okay. Yeah, I was trying to ask one of my friends about Roblox. But yeah. Just think about what other animatronic is like that. And you should also be able to figure out another part of the lore.
Down along the side. And you see, that right there is what tells us they belong to Henry. Well, there are plenty of animatronics that fall into a nebulous zone of who designed them. There are a few pieces of tech that we can definitely trace back to their original creator. The Funtime animatronics, for instance, definitely came from Afton. Not only were they designed with the intent of luring and capturing children, something that just doesn't jive with Henry, but the blueprints outright have Afton Robotics written in the corner. Not much you can do to deny that one. Sound illusion discs? Another Afton creation, considering the backs of them are stamped with his company name as we see in the graphic novels. The one I'm most interested in today is Lefty, the animatronic designed by Henry used to capture his daughter.
There. That is an example of what I was trying to say. Think about what animatronic is like that.
The puppet during FNAF 6. That was clearly not an Afton project. This was purely Henry's doing in secret. So, knowing that, did you happen to notice the two straight metal rods in the schematics with the jaw fully detached from the top of the head? It's an exact match for the design of Happy Frog. It's a Henry signature. But why does that matter? Well, the designs of the mediocres also perfectly match up to the first iteration of Freddy, Fox, Bonnie, and Chica. We know that the Wizards were the earliest form of our core 4 animatronics. These were the ones that had children stuffed inside of them and got possessed. They outright tell us this fact in Ultimate Custom Nights. But have you ever stopped to look at how the Wizards were constructed? They use the exact same techniques as the mediocre melodies. They have full separation between the tops of their head and their jaws. Withered Freddy and Foxy both have the hinge opening in the back like we see with Pig Patch, and Withered Chica follows the Happy Frog and Lefty model with bars in the jaw to aid in opening and closing the mouth. Think this is just a coincidence? Look at Chica in other games. Chica in FNAF 1, a fundamentally different design. Funtime Chica, definitely not. Toy Chica, nope. The only other time we see this sort of fully separated head design for animatronics is with the FNAF 6 Rockstar animatronics. Ones that, again, we know were built by Henry as part of his plan to lure everyone back to his pizzeria trap. In short, the animatronic design seems to be giving us a timeline of events. The mediocres and Wizards were built by Henry early in the timeline of the games. Eventually, Afton starts to influence the designs more and more until Henry comes back to design the robots that were used for his pizzeria trap. But again, I ask, why does any of this matter? Isn't this just a minor detail? Me looking for connections where they don't really matter? No. Knowing that the Wizards and the mediocre share a design seems like it might help explain another part of the lore, Happiest Day. In FNAF 3's Happiest Day minigame, we walk past children wearing masks that match the coloring and rough shape of the mediocres. Pink pig, green frog, purple hippo, orange elephant, blue... Okay, not all of them match. But here's the thing, I'm not the one pointing that detail out. This is actually coming from Scott Cawthon himself. In the Five Nights at Freddy's Ultimate Guide, the character description for each mediocre melody calls this out as something worth noting. Quote, it's unconfirmed, but a child in the FNAF 3 Happiest Day minigame appears to be wearing a Happy Frog mask, Orville mask, Mr. Hippo mask. Every single entry mentions this specific detail. Seems like an odd fan theory to call so much attention to. And remember, Happiest Day is an exact recreation of the FNAF 4 pizzeria. Enter at the stage where Crying Child's bitten, we pass 3 tables, there's a bit of a gap, and then the final for the that's gonna set Crying Child's soul free. It seems to suggest that at some point the mediocre melodies existed in one version of the restaurant right alongside Freddy, Foxy, Bonnie, and Chica. But how could all that be? Well, it's easier than you might think. In the story The Puppet Carver, we Pizza Playground, a restaurant that seems to predate or be a competitor to Freddy's. And in it, we see that the franchise uses very rudimentary animatronics that break down a lot. There's a pig with a band, an off-brand bear named Baron Von Bear, and an unknown bird animatronic. It's the mediocre abilities, guys. Pig Patch, Ned Bear, and hold on, there's no bird in the mediocre melodies. Unless, of course, we're talking about Chica. What this story seems to heavily suggest is that Chica started at a different pizza franchise and have crossed over into Freddy's, becoming popular enough to eventually join the core 4. Also working at that pizza playground is a talented creator named Porter, someone who seems to have the ability to make wood-based animatronics come to life. In short, it's the book stand-in. Henry may not be the most technologically advanced creator out there, but whatever he creates contains this certain X factor about it, a spark of life. That's how he's able to create endoskeletons out of nothing but wood. No power, no just wood, and a childlike imagination. This, I think, starts to give us an important piece in the puzzle. Afton was the business guy, a tech bro who was smart and could build machines able to mimic voices and transform and launch giant claws out of their stomachs for no apparent reason. But it was Henry who had the pure love of his craft, that intangible thing that just couldn't be replicated, and it drove Afton crazy. In the Silver Eyes novel, we read a bit about Afton's old journals, that they were, quote, full of raving paranoia, passages about Henry that ranged from wild jealousy to near worship, which now gets us moving towards a motive. You see, one thing that I kept getting stuck on in the building of a timeline was the question of why. Why?
We all want more of a good thing.
More.
And Miss Moore was no different.
More.
So when she was injured, she called Morgan & Morgan with more than 15 billion.
Why does Afton kill? And out of everyone, why does he kill Henry's daughter, Charlie, specifically?
Jealousy. Definitely jealousy. I mean, that's the only reason, because yeah, that's the only reason.
He is one of, not the first victim of the entire series. So why does Afton do it? Just because he's evil? Just because he's drunk from the bar at Junior's? No. I think Afton both loved and hated his business partner. He admired him and his magic, but also despised him for his success. This contradiction starts to point us to Afton's motive for murder. It also finally helps give us work for the early parts of their story. Loyal theorists, let me now point us to the most obvious place that we should have been looking for lore this entire.
Before they say anything, let me just turn off closed caption. What does that remind you of? Chuck E. Cheese, so but Chuck E. Cheese animatronic.
Time, the history of the Chuck E. Cheese franchise. Because in a game all about animatronic pizza restaurants, why would we not look to see what creative inspiration Scott might have gotten from the real-life franchise that started it all? I am so dumb. It took me researching an episode over on food theory to finally realize that I should have at least considered this at some point during the last 7 years of solving FNAF. Major head test moment. Anyway, I did exactly that, and what I learned was enlightening, to say the least. You see, what we now know of as Chuck E. Cheese actually started as the product of a feud between two rival animatronic pizza restaurants, Pizza Time Theater and Showbiz Pizza Place. Pizza Time was founded by a smart businessman who wanted to recreate Disneyland's Country Bear Jamboree. In the end, their onstage show wound up soulless and had no solid theme. Showbiz Pizza, meanwhile, had a creator who built better robotic attractions that were full of life. They also had a solid theme where everyone had southern accents and a lot of charm. I mean, just watch the clips and the difference is immediately clear.
Like, happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, you get it?
See, we're all up here on the stage, and we can all turn, go around a big circle together. See, like this, our feet aren't screwed to the floor or bolted down. We can move. We got more moves than a can of worms. And then that old 1-2 Billy Bob can come up there and stick his old ugly mug in your face.
To me, the battle between these two real-life pizza places, these two men, sounds a lot like the battle between William and Henry. A smart businessman who wanted to riff off Disney's Bear Show versus a talented artist that was building animatronics with actual life and good southern accents.
I was just waiting for you to drop your guard.
Even small details of the real-life story map nicely onto the games, like the fact that these pizza places had small cabaret stages off to the side for extra acts to get added later, just like how Foxy stands alone in Pirate Cove. A separate act that we see was the last one added to the core group of 4. In real life, Pizza Time Theater, the one I most associate with William Afton, went heavily into debt and was forced to merge with Showbiz Pizza. That meant that, at least for a while, all the animatronics existed under one roof. But because the characters from Pizza Time were stronger for branding, specifically Chuck E. Cheese, that's the ones that they ultimately moved forward with. I suspect that something similar happened in the games. William's bear-themed restaurant went heavily in debt. He gets saved by his rival Henry, and the two merge their restaurants to create Fazbear Entertainment. Chica, a mediocre melody, officially joins Fredbear's cast of friends, and the rest are slowly phased out to obscurity. And William, angry and bitter, never truly lives down the humiliation of his failure, prompting him to lash out in a drunken rage against Charlie one night behind the pizzeria. This feels right to me, to set up William as more than just an evil purple guy. This flow of events actually gives him a reason to want to kill, a motive. It also aligns with a lot of the interviews that Steel Wool Studios has been doing recently. J-Top, creative director at Steel Wool, recently acknowledged how important it is for your horror villain to be an actual, fully fleshed out, tragic character.
Try not to set out to make a cool looking villain, you know? Go make a monster that have a reason for it. Look at anthology horror. Here's somebody doing something really, really bad. Like they murdered someone. Something happens, ironically, that then comes back to bite them. A creature is created, a situation is created, and they're judged and they get their just desserts. Every big, horror icon, it essentially fits that structure in a way. Why is Freddy Krueger popular? Well, it's a revenge story, isn't it? Miss Voorhees, it's a revenge story. These aren't just like these supernatural forces that came out of nowhere to just hurt people and punish people. There were results of other wrongdoing.
William Afton, if I'm right, follow this exact pattern. His jealousy over Henry's skill causes him to lash out, which in turn dominoes to him building the very robots that'll eventually take Elizabeth and his crying child son away from him. The other thing that this mediocre melody timing issue may help explain is Cassidy's death. In the Fazbear Frights books, there's Andrew, who's basically...
I know where this is going. All I have to say is, have you read the Stitch story at the end of each book? Because if not, then
the book stand-in for Cassidy. I know we're always supposed to take things in the books with a grain of salt, but Andrew here is an angry spirit that keeps William's soul tethered to a hellish purgatory so it can be punished again and again and again.
hold on.
Did you wash the sheets?
It's been on this bed.
Huh?
It's been on this bed. BRB. Okay, so it just stopped. Well, I guess when I finish, I can actually turn on the camera. And hopefully I'll be protected because I have the link in the description. I don't know. Like, I'll be whole time description. And, you know, I might as well put the link in the description. Hey, moved on. But peace of mind, if I could, I never go back. This is it. Not to think for nothing, but they never dare out to give me one. But I'm golden. Can you get me out? Definitely. What was that? Okay. For the person that, hold on, are you still there? Because no, it did not end. Hold on. Just need to set up a couple more things before you go back. They don't have to do with fnaf, but they do have to do with like seriously will. Where was I last at? Yeah, Holstead Trace story. Must read pretty much the end of all the books to figure out what happened. What happened? Okay.
He's also known to have had his body stuffed inside of Golden Freddy, so really the connections between the two aren't subtle. But
Yeah, Cassidy and Andrew might be the same person from different series.
Andrew has two unusual details about him. First, he wears an alligator mask. Second, and even more strangely, it's repeatedly made clear that his soul is attached not to an animatronic or an endoskeleton or anything like that, but to a battery pack.
They lied. They lied. Because sure, his soul is attached to a battery pack, but where does the battery pack lead to? This is having too much of a FNAF fan.
Pack, of all things. Now that is unusual. He's stuffed into Golden Freddy, but his soul is in a battery pack. Where in this franchise do we see animatronics using battery packs, let alone off-branded animals using battery packs? Oh wait, it's the Mediocre Melodies. Could they possibly have been around during the missing children's incident? Yeah. Given what we already talked about with the Generation 1 Freddy, Foxy, Bonnie, and Chica matching the designs of the Mediocre Melodies, it's certainly possible. We also see that the Golden Freddy suit has the same Henry style line. In both the Fazbear Frights illustrations, as well as FNAF 4's minigames, we see that Golden Freddy has the separated jaw controlled by two straight bars, just like Lefty and just like Happy Frog.
Daniel Davis and his donors pushed privatizing JEA. As CEO of the Chamber of Commerce.
And last but certainly not least, we come all the way back around to the point that I started this whole episode with. Cassidy speaks through them, others, not through Golden Freddy, not through Fredbear, through the Mediocre Melodies, the animatronics with a battery pack. Just thought it was an interesting series of connections. So anyway, those were some stray observations that I've been kicking around about mediocres. What do you think? Do they have greater lore importance?
What I think that is what my pad thinks is true. Cassidy possessed two animatronics. One of them is shared with another person, aka Evan, Chris, whatever you want to name him. While the other one is pretty much just the Andrew's possessing. But hey, that's just a theory.
To the story than we initially thought, or are they just meant to be a joke? Am I just falling victim to everything that Mr. Hippo warned me against? Let me know down in the comments below, because this is the last chance for them to affect the final FNAF timeline for 2022. Our interpretation of all the series up to now. That episode will be coming in the next week or two. I swear, I am not putting it off anymore. We are gonna plow through this thing to the very end. We have gotta finish it. Gotta finish it, man. We've gotta finish it. So close.
Accusation Sensation salads come with 2 salad sauces. And yeah, I said.
Yeah. I pretty much believe what MatPat says. About the whole Mediocre Melodies, but hey. Like you said, it was just a theory. But anyways, like promised, I didn't know that I needed to update. Hold on. Okay, plan B. And as in Plan B, I mean Plan TS. And as in Plan TS, I mean Plan Talking Stream. I hate this plan. First part wasn't able to upload that much. The software on my phone that I use to edit my videos requires there to be space on my phone, which most likely won't happen. Number two, this one's a doozy. I'm gonna take down a video. Not gonna say which one, but I'm just gonna take it down right now. And if you already viewed this video, sorry, but that trend is done. Number three, I may do an informational stream about what I'm researching. Huh? Accidental name reveal. But yeah, also, I will in fact be making a video about what I'm researching as long as it does not get taken down. You know what? Okay. That interest subject here. Be taken down. Question mark. Yeah, in Florida. Okay, so it will take down. is not giving me any information. Hold on. I'm trying to figure this out so I can. The first one I click. Fantastic. Oh, I should not be doing this on my main account. Okay, so what I learned is as long as it doesn't show the topic that I'm researching, should be fine. More info later. But anyways, with me not knowing what to do, I'm actually start off with a tycoon. This looks so. Why is it slow loading and everything? Wait. These don't even look like plants. And now there's floating kids with no faces. Reach the character and hope that sticks to everything. I don't know what I'm playing anymore. Hold on. Where did this out? Hold on. Is this really a way to Is this really Oh God. First question? Why? What are you thinking? Third question? Why? You know what? Yep, or but other than this, I'm maybe afraid of this. I don't know. Test. You guys see it? I'm not the only one. What? Um, I think this is because of me rushing on to Roblox. Okay. It crashed once. Yeah, I kind of feel like a bad guy now. Normal button. I know. Oh, great. Oh, great. Of course. Of course. Why wouldn't it? Well, if your name gonna have to cut this live stream a little bit short. Probably would need to troubleshoot some stuff. Anyways, like and subscribe if you want more videos like this. And I'll see you later. Bye.